You know, this isn't your module, but we feel like you'd be a good person to ask a question about one of our courseworks. Basically, we've got a question and we don't really just to be pointed in the right direction to get started.
This one?
Yeah,
it's on the group chat video. Go to my channel, PK11 Kent. Okay.
PK11 Kent is on there.
Thank you.
My handwriting goes from super small to fat. Wait. Glasses. I'm looking forward to bags. Yeah, I'll read. He could have been No.
It is asterisk, isn't it? No, just from the group chat. Does that look good? The amino acids?
Oh, yeah.
For your peptide?
Oh yeah.
BI321?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a little bit with that. Okay, are we all back? Those who are not yet back, please raise your hand. You want to? Yes, I know there's always one person at least who, you know, is, yeah. It's okay, it's okay. No, I don't care if you've got a coffee here. I don't care. You're warming your chest. There are so many things I could say now, right? Okay. Let's do a little bit more sensible things with buffers. I understand that some of you guys do BI321 at the moment with the peptides. Is that right? Who is doing that stuff? Hands up. A few people. And you see some amino acids there. And I've been asked on the group chat which amino acid is, you know, charged, is polar, is things like that. And there's actually quite a nice list. And I want to draw your attention to one amino acid which I am particularly fond of because that when I did research, that was the area of research, more or less. And this amino acid is one of the two amino acids that contain sulfur. So it could be loud?
Louder.
Louder, yeah. Did you hear it? Methionine, thank you. Or cysteine, exactly. And methionine is boring because it doesn't do anything. Cysteine, that is a cool dog. That is really hot stuff. Why is cysteine such a fantastic amino? It forms disulfide bonds, exactly. Disulfide bonds in proteins. And these disulfide bonds in proteins, so you have a protein. And you have, for example, a disulfide bond between two cysteine residues, like that. Is this a covalent bond?
Yeah, cool.
That was a resounding yes. James?
Yes.
So resounding yes from James. So it must be a covalent bond. If James says it's a covalent, it must be a covalent bond. You're absolutely right. So this bond is actually pretty difficult to break. And if you like, it is almost like a safety pin in a protein. You can F up this protein in a lot of ways. How can you mess up proteins? You can heat denature it, exactly. What happens when you heat denature a protein? You expose hydrophobic residues, exactly. So what's going on? Well, imagine I'm a protein. Hydrophobic residues are in my hydrophobic core. Yeah, I'm in the hydrophobic core. And now somebody turns up the heat. It turns up the heat. And, I move around more and more. And all of a sudden, I'm totally exposed. My hydrophobic residues are totally exposed. Yeah? Now imagine this would happen to another hydrophobic core. Can you be a hydrophobic core? No? You want to be a hydrophobic core? Come on. Eleni. Come on, be a hydrophobic core. Yeah? Be a hydrophobic core. Yeah? Hydrophobic core. Hydrophobic residues stick together. Wham! That is why you can boil an egg. Because what happens is you heat up the protein and the hydrophobic elements of the egg white protein will be exposed and they clump together. So, boil an egg, fry an egg. That is biochemistry at its finest. You probably didn't realize. But what happens is still the disulfide bonds stay intact. They keep things intact. So it's not totally effed up. There are some elements of sanity in it that keep the right parts together. Now coming back to the cysteine. Cysteine, the side chain, SH, has a pKa in the literature of around 8.5. Okay? So SH can act as an acid. So we have proton plus S minus. Now, I want to know, actually, under which conditions a disulfide bond can be formed. And the point is, you cannot form a disulfide bond between two SH groups. But you can form a disulfide bond between what is called the thiolate, the S minus, in the right environment. So, I want to know whether it is possible to form disulfide bonds in the cytoplasm of a cell. It's not. Too acidic. I love you. I love you, James. Because you are so confident. Oh yeah, it's too acidic. Right. Let's check what's happening. What is the pH of the cytoplasm? Neutral? Yeah? You are close to the truth. pH of the cytoplasm is actually 7.2. This is actually a magic number, 7.2, because that is also the pH of your blood. Any slight changes in the pH of your blood, so if it goes down to, say, 6.9, you are dead. 7.5, you are toast. That indicates that the pH in your blood needs to be finely regulated. It needs to be really extremely buffered. And we'll talk about that in one of the next sessions, how this is achieved. So in the cytoplasm, we have a pH of 7.2. I want to know what is the ratio of SH to S minus in the cytoplasm. So we said pKa 8.5, pH 7.2. What is the ratio? Okay, Henderson Hasselbalch. pH equals pKa minus log SH over S minus. We set that X again. We have pH equals pKa minus X. We bring that to that side. We bring that to that side. X equals pKa minus pH equals, what is it, 8.5 minus 7.2. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, 1.3. Yeah? Am I right? So, log SH over S minus equals 1.3. What do I need to do with the log? 10 to the power of. So I have SH over S minus equals 10 to the power of 1.3 equals, what do you get this time? I trust you with my life now. Oh, you didn't do it? Ah, okay.
19.9.
19.9, so roughly 20 or something like that. Yeah? So the ratio of that is 20 to 1. So does the pH actually favor? He looks so smug. You should see him. Does the pH in the cytoplasm actually favor the formation of SH or S minus?
SH.
Of SH, exactly. You have 20 parts of SH and only 1 part of S minus. Out of 21 parts, 90% are in the SH form. So that would not do any good. Right? So in the cytoplasm, you really can't form disulfide bonds. But proteins have disulfide bonds. Where in the cell do you form disulfide bonds? In the endoplasmic reticulum, exactly. You form disulfide bonds in the ER, in the endoplasmic reticulum. What is the pH of the endoplasmic reticulum? How much? 10? What did he say? 10-ish? 10-ish. No? What's the pH of the endoplasmic reticulum? 5. Oh, it would be even more acidic and even less likely that you form disulfide bonds there. Yeah? What's the pH of the endoplasmic reticulum? Shall I tell you? Yeah. The pH is 7.2 in the endoplasmic reticulum. Huh? Come again? You just demonstrated that the pH in the cytosol, in the cytoplasm, is too acidic to form actually disulfide bonds. Now you are selling us that in the ER, with the same pH, you actually get the disulfide bonds. What now? How weird. The answer is, it's still acidic. It still shouldn't happen. But it's not the acidity that is the problem. It is the oxidizing or reducing environment. In the cytoplasm, you have SH predominantly, and you have, if you like, a reducing environment with lots and lots and lots of electrons. Right? And I showed you, if you want to form a disulfide bond, actually what you need to do is you need to take away these electrons that the sulfur has. In the cytoplasm, this is not possible. In the ER, you still favor the SH state of the protein, but you have an oxidizing environment. So there are no electrons. So what happens is that as soon as you have two S minus present, the electrons are taken away, and now you can form the disulfide bond. Only a little bit, because they are not, the environment is not very conducive to it, because it's too acidic, as you rightly said. But you form the disulfide bond very quickly. And every time you form a disulfide bond, it is sort of taken out. And the ratio of SH to S minus changes. You remove the S minus in this system. The S minus is turned into a disulfide bond, like that. So that's removed. So what happens then is, according to the equilibrium here, if you remove this S minus, you shift this equilibrium to that side again. And that is why the endoplasmic reticulum forms disulfide bonds. Who is actually taking away these electrons, as I said here? This is one of the key enzymes of the endoplasmic reticulum, my favorite one. I was married to it for 10 years, more than 10 years, because that was my protein, where I did a lot of research on it. This guy is called PDI, protein disulfide isomerase. The best protein ever. It's totally weird, but I love it. One of the things why I love it is this PDI. In the active site, it has a motif of amino acids, CGHZ. It has two cysteine residues in its active site. It acts as an enzyme, and an enzyme has an active site. It has CGHZ as the characteristic motif. Two cysteines in it. And when I said the pKa of cysteine is 8.5, as we said earlier, I lied. I'm a bad person. I know. I have no morals. Well, actually, I didn't lie, because very often the pKa of cysteine is 8.5. But in the case of PDI, the first cysteine has a pKa of 6.5. The second cysteine has a pH of 9.5. pKa, sorry. There are 3 pK units, or a factor of 1,000, 10 to the power of 3, factor of 1,000 difference between the acidity of these two cysteine residues in the same protein. Within 4 residues, a massive difference between the amino acids. And that tells us very nicely that all these numbers that you have for pKa values and things like that, they crucially, when you talk about amino acids, they crucially depend on the environment in which the amino acid is actually found. If it is in a protein, you can bet that the environment, the other amino acids around this particular side chain that you're looking at, has an influence on the pKa of the side chain. Like in PDI, 6.5 for the first one. So in this case, the S minus would be favored. In this case, the SH form would be favored. Just out of interest. I'm not going to ask that in an exam. Don't worry about it. Right. Happy with that? And as I said, I spent more than 10 years trying to figure out with this PDI what's going on. I still don't know, but you know, it was good fun. Right. No. One more thing that I need to do with you. Okay, now let's step it up a little bit. I have a pH of 7. My pKa is 6. And the capacity of the buffer is 110 millimolar. Okay? What is the concentration of acid and base respectively? A typical question that you will find in exam, sort of, you know, that you might be exposed to. In previous examples, we looked at the ratio of the acid and base. Now we are asked about the concentration. Ouch. Ouch. First of all, do we need more acid or base?
Acid.
Acid? Base? Okay, if we had the same concentration of acid and base, what would be the pH? 6. What would be the pH? pH equals pKa minus log acid over base. Sorry, it's not Bay. Let's put an S in. So if we have the same concentration of acid and base, the pH would be the same as the pKa. So the pH would be 6. But we have a pH of 7. So do we need more base for 7? We need more base. Okay, fair enough. So it needs to be more base than acid. Okay, first of all, let's just simply calculate the ratio of acid over base. And we know how we can do that. pH equals, and I could hear already in the background, pKa minus x. X goes to the other side, is pKa minus pH equals 6 minus 7 equals -1. log acid over base equals -1, 10 to the power of, we have acid over base equals 10 to the power of -1 equals 0.1. And I can write this as 0.1 over 1, or I can do the trick and say it is 10 over 100. Yeah? So I have 10 parts acid, 100 parts base. That's my ratio. Acid to base equals 10 over 100. Can I calculate what the acid concentration is just from this equation here? Yeah. Yes? Oh, you are magicians. Do I know the acid concentration? No. Do I know the base concentration? No. So I have one equation with two unknowns. Can I solve that? No. I need a second equation. Do we have a second equation? You are so confident. We do. Where?
The capacity of the buffer.
We have the capacity of the buffer. You are absolutely right. We also know that acid plus base equals 110 millimolar. Yeah? Happy with that? Two equations, two unknowns, can solve that. All I need to do is I just simply solve, let's say I do from this one here, acid equals 0.1 times base, just by bringing that to that side. And then I take this and put that in here. And I have 0.1 base plus base equals 110 millimolar. On the left-hand side, I can factor out base. I have 0.1 plus, well, if I factor out base, what do I have left? 1 equals 110 millimolar. So all I need to do is add this together and divide. Base is 110 millimolar divided by 1.1 gives me 100 millimolar. So I've got my base. I've got the base now. I just put that in here. Acid, therefore, is 110 millimolar minus base equals 110 millimolar minus 100 equals 10 millimolar. So I can, if I know pH and pK and the capacity of the buffer, I can very easily calculate the concentrations for acid and base. Make sense? You've probably seen my wonderful website. Yes. Yeah? There are loads and loads and loads of questions for you. So if we go to acid-basis buffers, if it works. I'm very proud of that stuff, actually. And I'll tell you why. Because behind each of the question, there is a little computer program that does random numbers and does the calculations. And the reason I'm proud of it is because I've written these computer programs. So, yes, I am amazing. That is if the website decides to load. Come on, baby. And here you have, for example, calculating the concentration of acid and base in a buffer, what we just did. Okay, over to you guys. Hey, do something for your money. You are paying £9,250 for the privilege to study. And I am talking all the time. No, not good. Now it's over to you. Here's a question for you. The pKa of a weak acid is 4.08. The pH of the corresponding buffer is 3.87. And the capacity is 295.84 millimole per liter. Over to you. What is the concentration of acid and base? I'll just give you a little bit of time. Give it a go. And I totally lost the connection, but it doesn't matter. Did you get it? What did you get?
110.94 and 184.9.
100 and?
184.9.
I would buy that, yeah. More acid or base?
More acid.
Yeah. Well done. Got it? What did you get?
We got 112.92 millimolar, and then I got 182.92 millimolar.
Well done. Okay, so because I know that Mark is absolutely desperate now to run his game, I just tell you the answer that I got. I think I lost the connection, but it doesn't matter. And I can't be bothered to restart. I want to go home. And so do you. So for this particular case, the correct answer would be 183 around 183 millimolar acid and 100 and roughly 12 or something like that millimolar base. If you've got that, pat on the shoulder. Is there a question? Oh yeah. If you didn't get it, there's also on this website a tutorial, and you can have a look at it and practice, practice, practice. Absolutely essential. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Sorry? .62. Oh, what do you? Oh, here's a good question. When your ratio is 1.62, yeah, what you can do is you can write it as 1.62 over 1, or 162 over 100. Yeah? Make sense? Go in peace and have a lovely weekend. But please go.
Quickly.
Oh, wow.